Good morning and welcome to our Sunday gathering. We are at 204 West 84th Street. This is First Center for Spiritual Living. It's a very bright day today at the center and New York in general. And it's a beautiful day and happy Father's Day to everyone. We have a special meditation section today, and we'll have our very own Reverend Judith to do the meditation for us today. Let's welcome Reverend Judith.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be conducting the healing meditation this morning. So I would like for you to, if you can, to just sit up straight in your chairs. Just relax, close your eyes, and have the intent in mind that you're going to enjoy, get something wonderful for yourselves out of the meditation this morning. When I speak, I'll be using the word of God. But think of any name that you have for the higher power: spirit, intelligence, principle, love. It's one, known by many names. So let us take in a very deep breath and let it out slowly. Try to put your attention on your navel or a little below. A deep breath, hold it in. Know that you're taking in the love of God. Have it nourish your body and release it out into the world. Deep breath in, holding in that love, and release it out as it nourishes. Deep breath in, hold it in, and release it out. Know that you're in the divine embrace. You're in the everlasting arms. You are in the arms of the beloved that calls you precious, that calls you by its name. Feel that love as you breathe it in and breathe it out. Feel the peace that this is bringing, the ease that you're feeling. As you're breathing in that love, holding in that love, and releasing that love, you see that there is nothing but love all around you. There's nothing but the comfort and the peace and the protection of the everlasting arms, the divine embrace, hugging you, loving you, supporting you, nurturing you, as you continue to breathe in more love and release it out. I am the life of God. God is the life that I am. There is one life, and all that is that life being itself. Breathe in that love. God is the love that I am. There is only love because there is only God. I feel that love. I see that love. I am that love. And I love to love with the love that I am as spirit, individualized, personalized. I am that love that loves as it sees and knows. I am peace. God is the peace that I am. That peace that passes all understanding, because it knows that it is all there is, and all that is, it is. So there is peace, there is comfort, there is ease, there is harmony, there is that peace that cannot change. God is the beauty that I am. I am beautiful because I am spirit. I am worthy. I am entitled because I am spirit. And breathing in that love, feel how beautiful and how magnificent and wonderful you are right here and now, right now, as that child of the infinite, as that center within spirit. And those arms, that divine embrace, is comforting you. God is the joy that I am. There is only joy, because this is the knowing of spirit. And this is my knowing, this is our knowing, as we are choosing to languish here in that divine embrace and feel that goodness that never ends, that comfort, that support that is eternal, absolute, because of who I am. And in the accepting of myself as spirit, accepting that love that envelops me and soothes me and comforts me. As I breathe it in, I feel it's increasing in my consciousness and moving out from me into the world. And I know that I know I am the I am that I am. And I am grateful for this oneness. This is the truth. This is the knowing for each one here. And each is endeavoring to carry this knowing with them as we open our eyes and we move out into the day, consciously aware of being in that divine embrace no matter what, so that we know, and we know that we know that all is well. And for this, we give great thanks and we let it be. As we breathe in that love, it is so, cannot be otherwise. And so it is. Thank you.
souls. You can think of ourselves today, and you might think, gosh, we're born into a strange time, a time that tries our souls. Whatever it is that goes on within us that we contemplate all day long is what shows up in our life. We want to remember the importance and the value of self-discovery and listening to the conversation that's going on within you. I was told when I was learning this teaching that every thought we think is creating our future. Because whatever it is that lives inside of you in terms of your hour-by-hour conversation, I want you to realize that you are creating your life with that conversation. We have a tendency to think that all the things that happened all day long and all this past week were about other people, but that's really not the case. It's really always about us. We want to have the courage to challenge our thought processes, and we want to have the courage to challenge our messaging, the messaging we have to ourselves. What you dwell upon and what you think about is creating your life, or using social media, what you're tweeting about all day long is creating your life. When you establish peace within, when you're working this teaching and living the affirmative life, and you know that everyone is doing the best they can with what they know, then nothing and no one really bothers you too much, because you realize all is well with you, and that people are doing the best that they can. When you establish kindness within your own mind, your own heart, your own being, you can't really act any other way in the outside world, because that's who you are. The author Alan Cohen wrote, "Don't wait for the world to change, please. Change your mind about the world and see the good that's in the world." It's real easy doing it the other way. We are the applauders of life. Those of us who really get this teaching, those of us who are learning to live the affirmative life and live with treatment, and why would you let yourself get off track reacting to stuff that just doesn't even exist in the mind of God? Ours is a solitary path. We do our work in mind, we do our work in consciousness. In his book, In Tune with the Infinite Again, Ralph Trine said over 133 years ago, we were born into this strange time, a time that tries our souls. We're born into a world where there's a lot of stuff going on, but that stuff, you can notice it, what you give your attention to. I've been for many years, for several decades at least, saying to myself, everything is perfect. Louise used to say, all is well, because in fact, everything is fine. And it's fine for you if you have the consciousness to know everything is fine, where you refuse to be disturbed by any person, place, or thing, where you know that everyone is evolving in perfect place, perfect time, and all the time. Back to Trine's little passage from 1897. This is a time to summon whatever courage we have, whatever faith we have, and practice that faith. Knowing we are supplied and knowing that we are supported, we will come through this day and all days. We will rise. We will rise in a way that may surprise even us if we have that kind of confidence and faith. And in such a way where others who dwell in fear can never rise. We need to be confident. We need to be bold to help ourselves. It takes a little bit of moxie to love yourself, because there's a whole bunch of stuff inside of us. We have a history with ourselves where we know where we've let ourselves down, and we remember where we've let others down. And it takes courage to just drop that rock, drop that story, and say, I'm not going there anymore. I'm standing in the dawn of a new day and a new moment, and I am supplied and supported, loved and lovable, and this is the truth of God. This is my truth, and so it is. Our obligation here is to love ourselves and realize that we live, move, and have our being in a presence, that responds to us endlessly and always. Bill Wilson first said, misery is optional. And Ernest Holmes said, suffering is not God ordained. So who the heck wants to be suffering and exist in misery? It's time for us to shine. It's time for us to quit explaining, I can't do it now because it's too late for me. Any of these stories that we entertain, we have lots of excuses, but really, is there any excuse that's really good enough? What's your excuse for being miserable? Realize in truth, there's nothing outside of you. If you're experiencing all these states of consciousness that are less than wonderful, then this teaching gives you a way to let go. You can talk about what's bothering you and you can share what's bothering you for a time. One power that's supporting you, and you can rely on that. You can rely on that power. You can begin to know that you are worthy and everything is okay and operating perfectly in your life. We begin the process of loving ourselves minute by minute, hour by hour. Louise Hay would say, room by room in our apartment. Wherever it's messy, we begin wherever we are right now. We begin cleaning it up.
Good morning and welcome to our Sunday gathering at First Center for Spiritual Living. It's always very good to have all of you on the call with us, and it's a beautiful day today. I have Reverend Judith with us and Tony here too, and I want to proceed into our lessons for today. But before then, I'd like to invite once again Reverend Judith for the opening of Formative prayer. Thank you.
Good morning again. We are starting, as we start everything, with spiritual mind treatment. Treatment is our form of affirmative prayer that is specific and expectant because we know we're speaking within a creative law of mind that's going to respond. So let us know this truth for ourselves. We go within to that divine presence, to spirit, that is the truth of our being, and know this truth about ourselves in the line, in the awareness of our self-worth, our self-love, our self-knowing. We know that there is one self, and that self is the creator. That self is principle. That self is all there is, and it has individualized itself as each one on the call, as our pastor, as myself. All there is to us is that magnificence, knowing itself as us. And in this knowing and acceptance of it, every idea of limitation, no matter its source, no matter its duration, is completely, absolutely uprooted from our consciousness and dissolved into the nothingness from which it came, so that it can no longer operate as part of our experience. Accepted and embraced is the truth that I am cause because I am part of the creative process itself. I am cause because I am that perfect individualization of spirit. And I choose and cause the good that I desire to appear in my experience, and it does so through law. I am worthy of my good. I am entitled to my good, and I can accept that good for myself and for others by means of my conscious awareness that good in actuality is all there is, because God, the good, the absolute, is all there is. And each is choosing to see this good. And in choosing, experience it in every area of their lives, every moment of their lives. This is the word declared within that creative law. The law always says, yes, therefore it is done. and I give thanks that it is so, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Reverend Judith. Before I invite Tony for the reading, I'd like to remind us about the class that is coming up. That will be the second week in July 13th. And it's the power of decision, and it will be for 8 weeks starting at 3 p.m. And the fee for the class would be $160, but if you're paying upfront, it will be $130 and $25 weekly. Then just 2 days before then, we'll have a party after the Sunday gathering, July 11. So I'm inviting everybody to come physically to the center. Okay, I'd like to invite Tony Allen Jackson for a reading. Happy Father's Day once more.
Great, thank you. Happy Father's Day. This is a little poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson. This is my prayer for you. Comfort on difficult days, smiles when sadness intrudes, rainbows to follow the clouds, laughter to kiss your lips, sunsets to warm your hearts, hugs when spirits sag. Beauty for your eyes to see, friendships to brighten your being, faith so that you can believe, confidence for when you doubt, courage to know yourself, patience to accept the truth, love to complete your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. For our community time, we would have Reverend Judith, and the title will be The Power of Non-Resistance. Yeah, okay. So that will be from 12. I'd like to now invite Dr. Greg for the lesson today. It's titled, The Most Important Person.
Welcome, everybody, to the Center for Spiritual Living in New York City on West 84th Street, where we do believe that there is one power, one life, one love in the universe. And we believe in this 1 hour, you can change your life. We believe in the absolute presence of a higher power indwelling in you, each of us. And we believe in this power and the power of prayer. Our form of prayer is affirmative prayer. Let's start with the treatment of Ernest Holmes. We know that there's power, and that power is ours to use. It's in us, operating through us now. I declare that this abundant power is healing, inspiring, and moving each of us here right now. I am open and receptive. I release the need to doubt. I know I am supplied and supported in every way. And so it is. And good morning again. We often use 3 lines that are found in the beginning of our textbook to welcome people each week. And I'm going to repeat it to you today because we don't have our booklets with us. Peace be to you, stranger. Enter here and be not afraid. The table is laid and the fruits of life are spread before you. All is yours, and you are welcome. So you're welcome to be with us today. Let us welcome one another by wishing those on the call namaste, and knowing that everybody that's with us today is part of this one energy, this one life, and this one mind. Good morning, good morning, good morning to those of us who are here with us, and those of you who are on our call, and those of you who will be listening afterward. If you're visiting us for the first time, we'd like to extend a very special welcome to you. We hope you can join us on Thursday evenings on our Zoom calls, where we work with self-healing, the principles of Louise Hay. Louise Hay, incidentally, was one of our famous students here at First Center. I'm sure many of you have heard of her. Her book has gone around the globe and sold 65 million copies, and she got her education with us here in New York. Send us a message on Facebook or on our website, and we'll put you on our list so you can be invited to any of the activities we do here at the center. We'd like to stay in touch with you and have you be part of our virtual community. So all you have to do is send me a message or Jimmy in the office and include your email address or some way for us to get a hold of you. Now, things are a little bit different here in New York because we're living in a virtual world now, as many of you know. And you now are part of a center, and you can be part of New York City Center, the New York Center for Spiritual Living, even if you're in Arizona or California, as some of you are. If you need assistance getting in touch with us, please contact our office. We will help you. We have technicians ready to guide you. I want to thank you for being here today. We in turn are putting much more effort into having higher quality performances, more programming. We're about to launch 5 or 6 new groups and classes, spirit groups, for you to be involved with at different times of the week. And most of our material will wind up on Facebook, so you can watch it again anyway. And we'll wind up very shortly thereafter being on our YouTube channel. So go to any of these places and like and share with your friends, and be sure to message us with your contact information so we can then invite you to our activities and keep you current. You can get involved with everything we do here, and you can support us financially if you wish also in any of these social media sites, or you can always send a check to us at 204 West 84th Street in New York City, 10024. So again, I've said good morning 3 times so far. I'll say it one more time. At First Center for Spiritual Living, we teach empowering ideas. We teach you how to stretch and how to grow and to be the best. You know, you've come here to be great, right? And we teach you, we ask a question in our Q process of all our members, which is who and what have you come here to be? Those are big questions. This spiritual center asks them of you because we want you to grow, and we want you to stretch, and we want you to expand, and we want you to be the best of the best. Be all you came here to be. You're here to express life, and we're here to help you with that. You might hear terms expressed here that sound different to you, but don't worry. I'll make it all very plain or very simple. William James once said of us, if we're a religion at all, it's one of healthy mindedness. So you might think of what we do here in our time together as a place where we contemplate great ideas and we cultivate healthy mindedness, utilizing a set of principles. I've always thought, personally, what we teach here is a spiritual philosophy, much more than a religion. My dad, for an example, was a well-educated Catholic. He loved listening to my Science of Mind tapes from Dr. Bill Tolliver when I was in Fort Lauderdale. My father felt that the lessons were inspiring and that he had no problem with them as a Catholic. However, he was different. He wasn't the normal Catholic. He was a seeker, and he was interested in philosophy and growth. What I'm wanting you to know here is you don't have to give up your religion, if you have one, to learn a new way of thinking, or maybe a new way of understanding your relationship with life. Our teaching or our practice of seeing the good and focusing on the good and seeing what's possible presents to us an exciting and new way of living life. If you're preoccupied, I promise you, with seeing the good, if that's your sole preoccupation, you're going to see the good. So in each day, we have a fresh new opportunity to awaken to the truth. Each day and each new moment, each new day provides us with a great adventure if you're willing to see life as a daring adventure. If you wake up thinking, ain't it awful, or poor me, and you're caught up into the story, which has been your habitual story, Nothing more will play out for you than what has been playing out for you. We are one with Source, which guides us, woos us, inspires us all the time. And that means we have endless possibilities, even though we don't always think that we do. We, in fact, do have endless possibilities. There are endless ways we can turn our lives around. There's endless ways we can heal relationships. There's endless ways we can heal just about anything, really. We are powerful. We have the ability to transform, and we have the ability to transform anything. The thing is, we understand in this teaching that transformation always happens through us. We have to be the person who has the change in heart and change of mind and come from love and joy. If you're expecting other people to do that for you, it doesn't work that way. We are not here to convert anybody or to really preach or punish or anything. We pretty much understand that everyone is doing the best they can with what they got, where they are. We have the saying in religious science, which is this: perfect place, perfect time, and all the time. So logically, if you believe that, you understand that everyone, even if they're living in some far off place like, I don't know, the Ukraine or Nigeria, wherever they're coming from with their particular point of view. We're never here making anybody wrong for being where they are. What we're always focused on is where we are and what we're thinking. Okay, our focus is on ourselves. Our focus is on what we are creating. Our thought is creative. Our center brings us together in our classes and all our community activities to show us how to think and live the affirmative life. We don't come together to tell you what to think. That's none of our business. That's not our concern. What we do talk about is we teach you, we come together and show you how to think in an affirmative way. So we'll teach one of the most powerful prayer processes known to anybody. Affirmative prayer is amazing. I know it's kind of like glossed over, but I invite you to take one of our classes where we'll spend some time and we will show you the power that you have at your disposal. It's mind-boggling. When Ernest Holmes said there's power for good in the universe, greater than you, of which you are a part, and you can use that power, he meant that. And you really can change your whole world through the use of the power you possess. Our beloved Dr. Ike, who had his students taking classes here years ago, had a line that I love. He said, "You just can't lose with the stuff we use." And that is so true. You can't lose if you cultivate a consciousness of positive expectancy. That's really your work to do, and we're here to help you with it. We can show you the way. We can help you with, by being like-minded and being around like-minded people, all of whom are committed to making the world a better place. And we can provide an environment, we can provide the classes and a safe space for that to happen. But the work is yours, and we support you in finding those answers. We ask the question often in our class, who have you come here to be? And we're here to bring you into a greater enjoyment and realization of that, who you have come here to be, and for you to develop spiritual realization of self. We believe that each of us is an individualization of this one spirit, and that each of us is expressing the nature of God in a very individual, precious way, and on a personal level in your own way. Each of us is expressing the one mind, the one spirit, the one body of God. In the practice of this teaching, we begin to take charge of our lives step by step. Maybe you've given your power away all over the place and for a very long time. Maybe you're in a marriage where you don't have any power, or in a job, or maybe your whole life looks as though it's been working against you. And the first thing to realize is, okay, well, I've created this all my life. and no one's going to change it for me except for me. So we're learning here in our teaching that we are each responsible for our lives. And when we understand the word responsibility, we never are implying that there's any blame to it. It's simply that our life is a reflection of our thinking and the decisions we've made up till now. So we're always inviting people to be in a new moment. In a new moment, there's redemption. In a new moment, there's possibility. In the new moment, everything is possible. But you can only have a new moment when you have the courage and the willingness to drop every single story that has been led up to that moment. And we're able to see all things new. We intend to be responsible beings as we grow. See, there's some people that won't be attracted to our teaching because they really do not want to live a life of responsibility. There's many that want to be living a life where they want to be talking about their parents when they're 40, 50, 60, or they're wanting to talk about the boyfriend that done them wrong or the girlfriend. And you can do that, of course, but it's not going to take you to the places you want to be. So we intend to be responsible beings. We learn to be responsible. We intend to learn and to grow and to redirect our thinking. When we're in a story, if somebody done me wrong or what's happened to us, or we're looking at our life before we got to America, or before we got to New York, or before we got wherever we got, if we're always referencing our present with our past, we're in a story. And the only way to get out of those places is to tell you something new. You say, stop. And you realize you're spinning a story. And, you interject something different, something positive. Because whatever you're going over and over again that's causing you to feel badly, you would say to yourself, it's only a thought I'm having. And a thought can be changed. So you have the power to change your thought. Our consciousness is always being perfectly played out. We must learn to recognize that everything that's going on in our minds is important, that our thoughts create our world. We recognize if we hold on to thoughts of hate, envy, jealousy, just angry thoughts, and if we're full of hatred, if you're a hater, as the kids would say, then hurt must come your way eventually. Okay, all that stuff comes home to roost. So I would implore you, invite you, suggest, whatever I can do is let go of any of it, all of it. These emotions must come home as an outer effect or a condition in your life. Whatever you're holding on to along those lines comes back. It's kind of like a karmic function. We want to release everybody, not because we're necessarily so generous, because we want to be free ourselves. We are free to choose and to think whatever we wish. Again, we are free to choose and think whatever we wish. It doesn't matter how bad you think you've been or what you think you've done. You are free to think a new thought in a new way right now. Once we start thinking in a new way, or once we start thinking, we have initiated the law of life that operates as a law of cause and effect through our own thought process. And then we reap what we have sown. So again, pay attention to your thoughts. There are no such thing truly as idle thoughts. I want you to know that we have the right to think, but we must make very sure that what is going on in our minds is what we want to experience in our lives. Because as part of that creative action of the universe, we will cause it to create for ourselves. Life will always reflect back what we believe it to be. Every Thursday, for example, I ask the audience each week, what's the conversation been like with the most important person in the world? And as many of you know, what I'm really asking you to do in that class is to consider, what has it been? What's the inner dialogue? If anybody could really pay attention to your inner thoughts, what have they felt like and looked like today and this week? Because those thoughts, that conversation you're having with the most important person is playing out in your life all the time. And we're making lots of mistakes while we're growing, as we all know, and that's really okay. But we want to start paying attention to whether our thoughts tend to be up or if they tend to be down. Okay, so you can do whatever you want to do. If you don't like what you're seeing play out in your life, then you have to understand this is all happening from the inside out. So you have the right and you have the ability to choose a new thought and think something different. You're not apt to do that until you start paying attention to what your inner dialogue is. That's some of the work we do on Thursday night. We help you become aware of what it is that's going on within you. I want to go to Emerson for a moment now. There's a statement that I've been saying is his for many years. I don't really know at this point if that's true, but the idea is still just this is the truth. The universe is always attempting to get our attention in our quiet moments. It's wooing us. It's guiding us. We have an internal guidance system. We are always expressing the divine within. Universal spirit is always enjoying life through us. We have a right to express all the wonders of our minds and everything that we can. We have a right to express our own unique divine potential. We're here to express. Our founder here in New York City, the founder of this very center, the first pastor, I'm the fourth, was Charles Barker. In a lesson Barker gave us, Dr. Barker said, he said, life gives us an abundance of creative ideas. And he said that in all of his books. And he said, as consciousness, you are invisible. And I'm happy to share many of his creative ideas with you today. We must realize that our most priceless possession is our mind and our consciousness. And what we're doing with it at this moment, right now, today, is significant. See, you're here listening to some expansive ideas. You're making really good use of your mind, right? You could be making poor use of your mind because you could be caught up in some negative story and you could be full of negative emotions. And your mind is it's pretty much going to do whatever you bid it to do. So this moment right now is significant. Barker went on to say, it's important what you're doing right now, not what you did an hour ago, last week, or even yesterday. Mind can create, your consciousness can create only by what you are thinking right now. Mind is invisible, but its now activity is visible to all who know us. You see, mankind is the only form of life that hangs on to the past. I think of my dog. He's really preoccupied with what's going on right now. That's always the way. And he's not really caught up with what happened 15 minutes ago. It's whether he's going to get a biscuit now or fed, or he's doing beggy, he's where he is. He's not caught up with what people have said or done to him. Mankind is the only species that we know that really gets hung up on the past and recycles things over and over again. We often very involuntarily hold on to the past. Holmes called them the ancient corpses. I call them, from a different book I read, the ancient hurts. Yes, people have done some really terrible things to us. And sometimes we've done some very terrible things to people. And in both cases, forgiveness is the answer. Forgiving them, you don't have to like what they did, but forgiving them and forgiving yourself is always going to give you freedom. We hoard our old memories sometimes in our subconscious mind, the ancient hurts and places where we've been wronged in our minds, at least. And they lie dormant within us for a long time, especially the negative ones. And they pop up here and there, and they get in our own way at the worst possible times sometimes, and they terrorize us. We must have the willingness to let go of the past and be in a new moment. The motivation of mind is always forward, by the way. The motivation and the movement of mind in life is always forward. Any pattern can be changed at any time. It doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 40 years. Any pattern can be changed if you really want it to change. If you were in a 12-step program, they would say willingness is the key that opens the door to everything. So if you want change, you got to be willing to change. You got to bring the joy and bring the love. You can't be waiting for the joy and the love to be brought to you. Mind is flexible. Mind is creative. Mind is always trying to go forward. It never tries to go backwards. It's extremely difficult for us to forget anything that hits us with an emotional impact. It's really hard. I can attest. And emotion is the law of the living. This is why the ancient teaching that the primary aspect of God is love may be more important than any other aspect of the divine mind, any other quality. We must not give the past power over our lives. If there's been people who have mistreated you, and treated you poorly, and I'm sure there's been lots of instances of that, you can't keep letting it hold you back. Somehow you have to find the way to release and let it go, because the past will hold power over us as long as we feel that that past is greater than the present. One of the great advantages of being part of the New Thought movement is that we are not a part of something that has been in the past. We are part of that which is happening right now, and it's unfolding in different ways. The New Thought movement is expanding and evolving and changing and considering all kinds of new ways of showing up and being in the world. Dr. Barker reminds us that, and he's going to the Bible and he quotes, he says, "It is in the Bible that it says the truth sets you free. And it is the truth of your own self that sets you free." You and I exist in something that is not only infinite, it's indestructible and it's eternal. So he's saying we exist in the one. We exist in the one thing that's indestructible and eternal. You and I exist in it. It is self-search and not a search of the universe that sets us on the right track. So the journey without a distance is that it suggests that we go within, because everything that you need has always been available to you. This goes right back to the ancient dictum, going to the time of Socrates on the temple wall to Apollo. Know thyself. This is the reason people do all the inventories they do, so they can know themselves. As religious scientists, we know that there is a divine creative center in each of us, in every one of us, a divine creative center. We must realize that we are co-creators with Spirit. We don't need to stay the way we are. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 67. You don't need to stay. You don't need to wait for others to approve of you. You got it. If you've awakened to how great you are and you got the gift of self-knowledge, there's nothing that's going to hold you back. There's no person that can contain you. There's no thinking of others that can stop you from thinking your own thought. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror and admit that in some way, wherever we are, we have brought ourselves there. And so, okay, fess up. I've created this life. I brought myself to where I am. But by the same token, I'm now aware that I have all the power in the world to do so many things that I've never thought I could do before. So, the places we can go when we know who we really are. To be a creator, we don't have to create something large or something magnificent necessarily. We can create something new in our own life. If you really start to love yourself, everything's going to start to change. The people you date, the way you show up, the things you do, it will reflect a person who honors themselves. Your home will start to look different. You'll start to look different. Let's create a new experience. Let's create new friends. Open up the door. When you really love yourself, my goodness, watch things start to happen for you. You can do it. That's the name of one of the Louise tours, the You Can Do It tour. And if you keep focused and keep doing, seeing the good and keep knowing that you can do it, eventually you're going to find that you've created a whole new you and a whole new world and a whole new group of people around you wanting to spend time with you, not trying to get away from you, but realizing there's somebody here that's got something, and I'm very lucky to have this person as a friend. We must realize that there is nothing in our teaching that says you can have what you want when you want it without doing anything. Okay, we pay for everything in spiritual coin. The inner will, if you have what we're talking about here, if you have the teaching living inside of you, it will be mirrored outside of you in quick order. Ernest Holmes tells us that we must pay for everything in mental and spiritual coin. So there's no free rides. There just isn't. But you know, greatness is yours, and you can go to great places as you learn to embrace these spiritual principles. We don't have a get-rich scheme here. I know we teach the law of attraction, but if you really understand the law of attraction, the law would suggest, just like I said a minute ago, that we pay for everything in spiritual coin. We need to have the consciousness of love and having and being supplied and supported before that really materializes on the outer part of our life. Our teaching is a science that says each one of us is a divine creation. Each one of us are one with the one, spiritual beings, one and all. We have a mind that not only can conceive ideas, but can translate them into form. And we will get the results of our ideas after we have translated them into form. There's no such thing as life living itself without effort. And any great thing you have ever done, you did it because you selected it, actually. We know that we are vital centers of creativity. Dr. Barker advises us to begin with one premise. And the premise is that we are giants walking tall, each of us, with the mind of the infinite, with the emotions of infinite love, and let us know that we are the glory of life itself. So we're going to wind down with that idea that we are giants walking tall. When you understand this teaching, you will understand who and what you are, that you are a giant walking tall with the mind of the infinite and with the emotions of infinite love. And let us know that we are the glory of life itself. So this is what Barker's message would have been to you today if he were here. None of this is an overestimation of what you and I really are created to be. But we must realize these things for ourselves, because as much as I know that for everybody here, it doesn't help. You have to know that for yourself. So I invite you to come to our classes and begin the journey of learning to love yourself every Thursday. Start reading, start listening to any of the audio that we have everywhere, any of the Louise Hay material. Begin the journey, the most important journey in your world, which is falling in love with the most important person in the world, which is yourself. And as you do that, everything in your life will begin to change. And so it is.
Hello, and welcome back to our good news section. This is the time we'd like to hear from you and know